Hi everyone, thank you so much for coming out. My name is Ann He. I'm a senior at Homestead High School, and today I'm just going to tell you guys a story. So over the summer, I worked at the Community Justice Center in San Francisco. It's a court division under the San Francisco District Attorney's Office, and so yes, that meant that I needed to commute there every single day, which, as you can imagine, was no fun at all. And so I took the BART. And there was this one time when I was running really late. It was a miracle that my BART was still at the platform by the time I raced there. The doors shut right behind me as I ran through them. I looked around and all of the seats were filled. All but 2 of them. Now listen carefully. I looked to my left, a seat next to a pregnant mother wearing a blazer much like the one that I had on. She was white. I looked to my right, a seat next to a man wearing a plaid shirt with grimy fingernails. He was black. I'll say it again. Pregnant white mother or black man with grimy fingernails. The decision was made so fast that I didn't even realize I was making it. I sat down next to the pregnant white mother and I felt relief. Now maybe you're thinking, why does it matter? Maybe you're thinking that you would have done the same. In fact, I'm willing to bet that any of you put into my position would have sat down next to the pregnant white mother without even asking yourself, why? Now, I know this because I have come to realize that there have been countless moments in my life just like this one. This wasn't the first time that I had made a decision based on race. And so what made me stop and question myself this time? You see, this time, that BART was taking me to the Community Justice Center, or CJC for short. The CJC's mission is to provide disadvantaged defendants with a chance at restorative treatment rather than carceral punishment. But what does that mean? We've all heard the term mass incarceration, right? Maybe you've heard that even though the US only makes up 5% of the world's population, it houses 25% of the world's prison population. Maybe you've heard that a black mother of 3 boys will statistically see one of them behind bars. Or maybe you haven't heard. I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, this issue is given little to no attention on Capitol Hill. Look, I know that there are important issues out there, but shouldn't this one be given some sort of voice? Thankfully, the Community Justice Center does just that. It recognizes the disadvantaged circumstances that defendants are born into and offers them a chance to overcome them. You see, most defendants who enter courtrooms are victims to young exposure to drug use, domestic violence, mental health illnesses, chronic homelessness. The list goes on. That doesn't make their crimes okay, but it does mean that we need to find a way to help them rather than punish them. When a defendant enters our prisons, they leave with a 76.6% recidivism rate. In other words, 3 out of 4 defendants leave the criminal justice system only to recommit another crime and then come right back. However, defendants at the CJC have a statistically lower chance of being rearrested because of the plethora of treatment options that the CJC provides them with. So instead of being sent to the vicious cycle that is our criminal justice system, defendants are given an opportunity at education, at engagement with the community, and at forgiveness. I have witnessed defendants enter the courtroom with felony charges and leave with jobs, shelter, and sobriety. Now, it didn't take me long before I realized that the majority of defendants at the CJC looked more like the black man on the BART than the white woman. And so, what did that make me? That made me a hypocrite. You see, I've been passionate about criminal justice reform ever since I wrote a research paper on mass incarceration in America. That's why I took the job, and that's why I'm standing here talking to you today. So why, I asked myself, why did I make a conscious decision to sit next to a white woman over a black man? And why did I feel relief afterwards? You see, I've come to realize that passion doesn't hide prejudice. I am the last person that I ever thought could be labeled as racist or bigoted, but I was. I still am. And I know I'm not alone in this. We're all from the Bay Area, right? We can't help it. This is a community filled with well-intentioned folks who post on their Instagrams about hashtag Black Lives Matter, but grab their kids' hands a little tighter when they walk past one of the few Black people in our neighborhoods. Our parents, our financial systems, our cultures foster an inherent prejudice that is incredibly difficult to escape. And I'm not saying that I've escaped it, because I haven't. But here are the steps that I've taken to begin overcoming my biases and to truly be passionate. Recognition is the first step to any problem. It is my hope that today has helped you with that. I want you to take notice from here on out. Every single time you let the N-word slip out of your mouth, or when you cross the street to avoid someone that you deem in your head as unsafe just because of their appearance, take notice. For a lot of us, it's our parents that are definitely guilty of prejudiced remarks and actions due to their generation or simply where they came from. Unfortunately, those are characteristics that we as students tend to emulate. For me, I know that I was taught at a young age to be cautious around certain races. Our parents teach us so much. Now is the time to return the favor. Help them recognize the need for a change in their mindset. For me, my recognition started on the BART and has continued ever since then. Now next, you must be educated. So many of us are talented in all things academic, but sometimes we forget to educate ourselves on the very things that we are passionate about. It's easy to say that you support a certain cause because, well, it seems like everyone else does. But do you really know what you are supporting? This goes for all issues or beliefs that you may have, not just about race. Just because you're from the Bay Area doesn't mean that you need to lean liberal for every single issue. Do not blindly call for gun control without educating yourself on the conservative point of view. I saw this issue really prevalent on March 24th, just a few weeks back. If you took part in the National School Walkout on that day, I want you to ask yourself, why did you walk? Did you walk because you wanted to post it on your Snapchat story? Did you walk because everyone else did? Or did you walk because you knew exactly what sort of laws you wanted to change? If you didn't know then, make it a priority to know now. Despite my passion for criminal justice reform, I actually want you to take what I've told you here today with a grain of salt. Go home and educate yourself on why some believe that punishment is the correct answer, because there is a valid argument for that. And there's a valid argument for every single issue on both sides. So learn it, because only then will you be able to truly form an opinion that is solely yours. I'm going to end on the most important step in my journey. In order to overcome any sort of prejudice, I wholeheartedly believe that you must listen. I heard countless defendant stories. Some were victims exposed to drugs at a young age. Others had mental health issues. Some were from abusive families. All were victims of some sort of circumstance. And if not for the CJC, data shows that the criminal justice system would not have taken any of that into account. And neither would I. Their skin color doesn't make them dangerous. It is our punitive system that targets those born into disadvantaged circumstances that makes us think that. Punishment is not the answer, but help is. It is my hope that you leave here today with questions not only about whatever prejudice you may carry, but about the criminal justice system and about whatever other issue you are passionate about. Thank you.